Hi, welcome back to the IR Strikes Back. So today we analyze the white snake. If you don't live under a rock, you know why. It's because we're soon going to celebrate the Lunar New Year. So if you didn't know, most Asian countries celebrate the New Year according to the lunar calendar while still celebrating the Occidental New Year. So in honor of passing from the snake year to the horse year, according to lunar astrology, we're making this episode just for you guys. So buckle up and let's dive in. What is a white snake? Okay guys, so open your history books because this is going to be interesting. Once upon a time, on Mount Eme, lived a white snake spirit named Bai Suzhen, alongside her sworn sister Xiaoqing, a green snake spirit. One day they ventured into the mortal world. There, by the West Lake, Bai Suzhen met Xian, often told as a gentle scholar or apothecary, and a simple rainy day encounter and a shared umbrella grew into love, then marriage. But peace didn't last. A Buddhist monk named Fahai arrived, convinced the union violated the natural order. He exposed Bai Suzhen's true nature and drove apart the lovers, forcing Bai Suzhen and Xiaoqing into a desperate struggle to save Xian and keep their family together. In an early written version, the supernatural threat is finally sealed at the West Lake beneath the three pagodas. In later tellings, the image becomes even more famous. Bai Suzhen is imprisoned under the Leifeng Pagoda, while Xiaoqing vows to return one day, strong enough to break the seal and free her sister. This is one of the versions of the white snake legend, one of China's four most important folktale. This tale was written in the Tang dynasty, but the prototypes can be traced to the Ming dynasty. But the idea is that nowadays it's a love story about love enduring any obstacles. But it's also a story of two sisters that help each other until the end.
And this story is the representation of the Chinese soft power.
Yes, because this movie is showcasing a very popular genre in Chinese pop culture, which is called the Wuxia genre. The Wuxia genre is a type of comic or drama that showcase the medieval era but for China. So in this fantasy area, people are able to rise above their status due to the practice of martial arts. This sets them to the paths of ascension to eventually become a god or a goddess. So the main characters' adventures are filled with epic battles against stronger martial artists and fights among sets of martial artists that are battling amongst themselves to know who's the best and who has the best martial arts. And it is in this context that the white snake legend is rediscovered. Warner Brothers decided that they wanted to make a movie like that alongside a Chinese studio. But we have to say that there's also several C-drama that were made based on this folktale. So we're only talking about the animated film here.
And this movie is mainly in English. The goal here is to reach an international audience.
So for this purpose, they decided to translate the names of the two snake sisters. So they translated Lady Bai to Blanca and Xiaoqing to Verta to better help the international audience connect with the characters. Okay, so this movie visually represent all the ancient ink painting that were made of mountains, birds, and trees by several famous painters throughout the different dynasties. So we can see that very clearly when we see the two protagonists on a lake when they journey towards the mysterious precious jade shop.
Later, the love interest of Blanca told her that the refugees are better now than before, even though they are living poverty. So that represents the reality of a refugee when he decides to move. They are ready to face the dangers. As a refugee, their life is not easy. They can face many obstacles. Example, just when they cross the ocean, they reach the other country, this new land doesn't want them, so they will be deported back to their home country and they will have to start it again if they are not in prison or if they are still alive.
So here in this movie, it reminds us of the reality of migrants. And it's also interesting that there's not only the folk tale of the white snake that is referenced here. There's also the fact that the weapon maker is a fox. And that's very interesting because fox are represented in this part of the world as being the same kind of demon as succubus in the Western countries. So their task essentially is to seduce males and feed off their energy, okay? And there's many names for them. For example, in South Korea,
they are named Guimo.
And there's a lot of comics and mangas and like C-dramas that have been made portraying the main female protagonist as being a fox. For example, there's the anime Fox Spirit Matchmaker that represents a young boy that is matched with a young fox that has the potential to be an important deity. So here the fact that the weapon maker is a fox and reclaims the aura of the male protagonist is referencing to another folk tales. So it celebrates different folk tales of Chinese legends. And also it's very interesting to see how the Chinese soft power represents the Chinese people as being awfully romantic and very close to their emotions because, as we mentioned in The Shadow's Edge, we see that the shadow has actually become attached to the oldest of his wolf pups and loses his mind when he has to kill him and decide to take his revenge on the rest. So here it's the same thing because even if the legend is talking about our everlasting love, the main protagonist chooses to become a demon in order to be with the white snake and is ready to die for her in order for her to live and survive and sacrifice himself at the end of the movie as a gesture of deep love. At the very end of the movie, we see the white snake going back to him, to his new body, his new incarnation, with her sister. The green snake also displays pure love for her sister. Throughout all the movie, she's ready to sacrifice her life by absorbing poisonous scales from their master to protect her sister, and she's ready to kill the human even if it means that her sister will be mad at her because she assessed that it was better if that human was dead. And even at the very end, we can see that she saved her sister from something and her sister ran back to her human lover despite everything that happened and the fact that 500 years passed. And she decides to support her because we see the green snake playing the role of the servant of her sister in order to approach the new incarnation of her sister's lover. And that's a direct reference of the original story of the white snake. So the moral of this story is that this movie aims to spread a very Chinese tale and very Chinese elements to the world. They want to share these folk tales and to showcase this love story, this pure love story of two people that are separated by race, by social class, by powers, and the sister love of the green snake for the white snake that we can see being developed more in the second movie. But here it's still very present. So we believe that this movie aims to present the Chinese people as being hopelessly romantic and being very intense with their sentiment and being ready to do anything to protect something that is important to them, and that they will back off to nothing to fulfill their goal. And even if centuries pass, they will reach that goal. Even if their love interest has forgotten them, they will still try to pursue him, even if it means to be imprisoned for centuries due to that. And that is the beauty of the tale of the white snake.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in our next episode. Bye.
Bye.